Hello, YouTube. This is Adessa. If you are a guy and you're watching this video, please leave. This video is not for you. Not even slightest bit. No. So I'm basically going to be talking about periods, particularly heavy periods, and what women can do to basically help them out. And I'm not just talking about like if you have a long period, a heavy period, like it's normal but it's just heavy. I'm talking about like you're a woman and you've had your period now, it's going on 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months, like it's just going on and on and on and it's not stopping. And all your doctor is doing is telling you to take more and more birth control pills that are still not working. Okay? So this is, I don't really know a lot about this issue. I just know about it from my personal experience and what I had to go through with it. And so I'm just going to jump right in because I don't want this video to be super long. So if you're bleeding right now, I want you to be able to go out there, buy the stuff that you need, and then just be okay. So my experience is this. I started my period when I was 14. I had a normal period until I was 18. I started college. And in college, like, things just went haywire. I gained a bunch of weight, and then that impacted my hormones greatly. And then I started having these really heavy periods. Okay, so I'm going to talk specifically about what happened to me recently. I'm 27 years old, live in New York right now, Brooklyn. And recently, in December, I had an episode of a severely long period. Overall, it started in December and it didn't stop until about mid-February. So this is a period that lasted almost 3 months. And it was really heavy and it got really bad. I was losing so much blood. I had to go. I didn't go to ER. I went to my primary care doctor, and eventually we kind of discovered a few things that could help cure it, But basically what happens for usually when women have heavy periods, they go to a gynecologist, a specialist, and what these specialists do is they'll listen to you, but then they have to, at the end of the day, kind of do like a general assessment based on all the other women they've seen in their whole careers. And what it ends up being is that most of these doctors will right away put you on birth control pills. You go in there and you tell them, look, doc, like I've been bleeding a lot, and like, please help me. And what they'll do is they'll look at you like, yeah, that's what they all say, and they kind of brush you off, and they end up prescribing like heavy doses of birth control. And that's basically what happened to me. I went to the doctor. I couldn't really articulate how much bleeding I was having. I just told him I'm bleeding a lot, bleeding through a bunch of pads, a bunch of tampons, I'm bleeding a lot. And what he did was he went ahead and put me on like quadruple doses of birth control. So he prescribed birth control to me, and then he told me to take about 4 pills a day, and that it was supposed to make my body think that it was pregnant. Yeah, make my body think that I was pregnant so that the periods would stop. And I just did it because at that moment in time, I was just thinking, like, I'll do anything to make this stop. Like, I'm bleeding like crazy. I didn't have any cramps because, thank God, like, no one in my family gets cramps. My mom doesn't. My sisters don't. Like, that's a genetic thing. We don't get cramps. But it was just heavy bleeding. So he told me to take 4 birth controls a day, and I did it, and I immediately felt weird. Like, I was taking these birth controls, and I just felt like it was weird. Like, my uterus felt like it was like contracting all the time. I guess that's cramps. Like, I started getting cramps because of it. The bleeding didn't stop. It went like very like just straight blood. Like, if I cut open my wrist and like this blood came out, like that's what the bleeding was like a straight up hemorrhage. And I was calling my doctor. I was like, look, dude, like, I'm taking all these crazy hormones you're giving me, these birth control pills, and nothing is happening. And like, he just like, wait it out, keep taking the pills. So finally things got so bad. I ended up having like extreme anemia. Like, I was bleeding out so much. I found it difficult to breathe. I couldn't breathe. Like, that was kind of like the scary part. If you ever experience extreme anemia, it basically feels like you can't get oxygen, right? Like, to your organs, like, you'll start feeling like different cramps in different places, and then you can't really start having like trouble breathing. And so I work on the 8th floor, no elevator, and so I have to climb 8 flights every day. Every single day, there was like 3 teachers on standby, like in case I fainted because I couldn't breathe, and like it just got so bad. So finally, I went to my primary care doctor, and after running blood tests, it was straight up like, "Do you don't really have a lot of blood? Like we either have to give you a blood transfusion right now, or you're gonna have to take like a crap load of iron pills." And I'm really glad that they did this, because this is when I started doing more research, and this kind of led me to what I'm now going to tell you guys about what you can do, the one thing that you can do to help your heavy bleeding situation. So my doctor prescribed for me to take 3 doses of iron pills for about a month until my iron levels improved. And so this is what I'm about to tell you. Listen carefully. So up until this time, I had been bleeding out 3 months straight. Nothing was stopping it. Not birth controls, not exercising, nothing was helping. As soon as I took these iron pills, like the same day, if not the next day, like it was like immediate. I took the dose my doctor recommended, 3 pills, 3 iron pills, and my period just stopped. It just stopped. Like the blood stopped, the Red Sea was parted, like no more blood. It was just instantaneous. It just stopped. And so I'm thinking, okay, the first day is probably just a fluke, you know? So like I keep taking the iron pill, second day no blood, third day no blood, fourth day no blood. My period was done. It was done. The cycle was over. It was just done. And so I'm thinking in my head, like, is this just coincidence? Like, is this just like some type of strange, weird Twilight Zone coincidence? And so this led me to my research. I went ahead and I basically Googled cases of women like just taking iron pills, and if that stopped periods, basically. I was just Googling, and then I found a article, and once I am able to track it again, I will definitely post it to this video so you guys can read it. It was a woman who pretty much listed all the things that caused heavy bleeding, and she talked about endometriosis, she talked about hormonal issues, then she talked about iron deficiency. Okay, there was basically a scientist who had ran a bunch of studies, maybe several cases of where these doctors were running, these scientist doctors, whatever, were running these tests on women while they had their periods, and they were giving them iron supplements during that time. What they found was 75% of women who had heavy, long periods, like periods lasting 2 weeks or more, well, in 75% of those cases, when they just gave them an iron supplement, their period stopped. It stopped the abnormal bleeding. And like the article went into more details about how heavy bleeding can actually be a sign of anemia, which is weird. It's kind of like a weird, twisted, double-edged sword. Like you don't have iron, but yet your body, instead of preserving the iron, is like letting it all out. Like maybe as a way to, like I've come up with my own theory, like I think maybe it does that as a sign for the woman to know, okay, look, your period's almost over. You don't have a lot of iron in your body. You need to get some iron in your body so you can be ready to have a baby, so that baby can attach to like that stuff in there and get the nutrition it needs to survive. Like that's my own theory of why this happens to women, and why we, instead of like when we have low iron, our periods don't try to preserve, they just let it all out to let us know that we need those iron supplements. Just my theory. I'm not a doctor. And of course, please see your doctor before you try anything that I'm recommending in here. So my doctor gave me iron pills, prescription. But what I notice now is I can take regular iron pills. Regular, you get this at Target, Walmart. Get regular, you can see that. You can buy regular iron pills. This is the amount you want. You want 65 milligrams. And this stuff will do the trick, just like the iron pills, the big red ones that my doctor prescribed. In fact, the pharmacist actually told me to take these. Like, they're like, really? You're gonna get the prescription stuff? That stuff is so expensive. He's like, get these. It's the same stuff. It's like $3. And so I listened to the pharmacist and got these. So what I do, and let me, for the record, say, I just finished my period yesterday. My period lasted 3 days, taking iron pills while I'm on my period. So what I do is when my period when my period starts, what I do is I don't take iron all throughout the month or every single day. And the reason why I don't is because iron can cause, complications. If you don't have anemia and you're taking iron, the iron buildup can cause a lot of havoc in your body. But here's the thing, if you're a woman around my age, I'm 27, like if you're a woman who's in their reproductive ages, 16 to 45, more than likely you have some form of anemia, and taking iron supplements probably won't hurt you, especially if you're doing it the way I do it. The only time I take iron supplements, guess this, ladies, is when I'm on my period. Period. Only time I take iron supplements is when I'm on my period. So when I'm on my period, I take 2 of these a day. Not 1, I take 2. Again, like, I am 27 years old. I'm also a heavier woman. Like, I'm not super thin. I'm 5'10". I mean, I don't know if that plays into it, but I just remember when I went to my doctor with the anemia, he told me to take 3 pills. So when I'm on my period, I just take 2. I take 2 a day. 2 a day, so 65 milligrams, double that every single day. And it cuts my period. Like, before, when I had normal periods as a teenager, my periods lasted a week to 10 days sometimes. While I'm on iron, my period lasts 3 to 4 days. I don't know what the hell is in this stuff. Like, I don't know what it is, the iron, period, uterus connection is. But just taking iron pills while I'm on my period cuts the time down, and my body just knows, like, when to stop. Like, it's just like the off switch. Like, we're going to stop right now. And so that's really what the secret is. And there's research to show in 75% of cases, if you just take an iron supplement, it will cure the heavy bleeding. Like, I mean, not cure, but it will fix it. It'll fix the problem. You stop bleeding. In 75 cases of women. And of course, always see your doctor. If you're still bleeding, even when you're on the iron, it could be a whole host of things. Endometriosis, in very rare cases, cancer. Like, but you really want to see your doctor and talk to them. One thing I will say I'm disappointed by was when I went to go talk to my doctor, and I told him, look, doc, like, the birth controls didn't help me. Like, those 4 pills just made me feel horrible, and, like, it didn't stop it. I tried to tell my doctor, like, look, the iron pills, like, my other doctor gave them to me, and that's what helped. He pretty much, like, almost laughed at me. Like, he was like, no, that's coincidental. Like, that had nothing to do with it. And I should just keep taking the birth control. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, your birth control didn't work when you just listened. So not all doctors will be prevy on this stuff. If you have a really understanding doctor, maybe they might try other therapies besides birth control. I just found that this is what did it for me, and it's still doing it for me. Like, my period just now only lasted 3 days, and like, it went from lasting 3 months to 3 days. So in the beginning of this video, I did mention that there's different ways that you can communicate to your doctor about how much you're bleeding. And one of the things I found out while you're on your period, what I discovered while I'm on my period and started using are these things called Femi cups, which I'll probably try to talk about later. These are like cups that you fold up and you use. But these cups, get a good look at it. Like, that's like the thing that keeps it from spilling out, a little spout inside. But these things hold a little bit less than an ounce, but it's a really good way to measure how much you're bleeding by using these. Like, definitely go do more research on it, but I was able to tell my doctor, like, just by using these while I was on my period, I was able to tell him, like, look, I'm losing in one day what a normal woman loses in during her whole period. So I'm losing in one day. And just being able to communicate that kind of will set the urgency in some doctors. Like, okay, I really need to look at you a little bit more closely because you are bleeding too much, basically. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The way to basically stop the heavy bleeding. And remember, I'm someone who had a period that lasted 3 months, heavy bleeding to the point of where I needed to probably get a blood transfusion, and I'm a young woman. I'm 27. For the most part, I'm healthy, not sexually active, never been pregnant. Not really, well, not gonna get into that, but never been pregnant. And so, yeah, that's what helped me and what still helps me. While I'm on my period, I take 2 of these pills. When my period is over, I stop taking them, and I don't take them again until my period starts again, and I get the rest of my iron from food. But then again, like, save that for another video, food and nutrition, all that. Just some closing thoughts. And for anyone who's watching to consider, a lot of times when we go to doctors, they're not too quick to talk to us about nutrition and about holistic type things, because that's really not what medicine is all about right now. Please do your research. Please, learn your body, and just, I don't know, be your doctor. Listen to your doctor, but be the manager of your body. If what the doctor's telling you isn't working, and if it doesn't sound right, if it's like, know what it is. Like, don't just take people's word for what it is. Doctors are people. They make mistakes. I went to school with doctors. My friends are doctors, like, and they do some dumb crap. They're people. They're people just like we are. I'm not gonna tell you not to listen to your doctor, but listen to your doctor and listen to your body. You gotta do both at the same time. Okay, so I just want to leave that as my closing remarks, and I wish all of you ladies great health and happiness and peace. Bye.